How strong are you? How strong? If I asked you to do 100 push-ups, could you do it? 200? 300? 400? 500? How strong are you? If I asked you to do, to jog a mile, could you do it? 2 miles? 3 miles? If I asked you to do 50 cartwheels, I haven't done a cartwheel myself in Lord knows how long. I think I can still do one though. 50 cartwheels, could you do it? Now some of you are like, man, I could do 1,000 push-ups. You might be delusional, or maybe you could, I don't know. Others of you might be like, there's no way I could even do like 20 push-ups. But you could. If we push ourselves hard enough, we can get stronger at anything, better at anything, and do it. If we push ourselves, we have discipline. But that's like something that you're prepared for, though, What if it's just something out of nowhere? How strong would you be? Are you strong enough to defend yourself? If you're attacked on the streets, could you be ready at a moment's notice? What if you needed to defend someone who's with you? If you need to protect somebody else, would you be able to do it? Just out of nowhere, would you be able to do it? Could you protect your home if called to? Out of nowhere. Would you be able to do it? Would you be strong enough in all the areas you need to be strong to protect your family? Now, there's certain things that we need to get strong at. We know that we'll need strength and we need to do that. Other things that just kind of come spontaneously. But if you've been training and you're strong enough, in general, you pre-planned, then you'll be strong enough to deal with anything that may come your way. At least that's true in theory, right? It's 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 7 and 8. Have nothing to do with the godless myths have nothing to do with godless myths and old wives' tales. Rather, train yourself to be godly. For physical training is of some value, but godliness has value for all things, holding promise for both the present life and the life to come. I'll read that again. 1 Timothy 4, 7 and 8. Have nothing to do with godless myths and old wives' tales. Rather, train yourself to be godly. For physical training is of some value, but godliness has value for all things, holding promise for both the present life and the life to come. So how do you train in godliness? It's important. We just talked about physical training, different types of strength, talent, skill that you need in this life. But more important than all those types of things is godliness. How do you train in godliness? Now we go to Galatians chapter 5, and you'll read about the fruits of the Spirit. Love, joy, and peace, and all kinds of things. Goodness, faithfulness, self-control, all kinds of stuff, right? Fruits of the Spirit. That if you're walking with God, keeping the step of the Spirit, as the context says, you will exhibit these fruits of the Spirit. Right? We can read in Isaiah 61. The Bible talks about the anointing of God and how we're called to bind up the brokenhearted, to set free the captives. We are anointed, power on high. The Bible talks about in the beginning of Acts, right? Jesus says, hold up, disciples, wait for the power of God to come upon you. Then you can be my witnesses, right? Called to flow in that power. John chapter 4 talks about, Jesus says we worship, true worshipers must worship in spirit and in truth. So, these are all types of godly traits. This is what godly people should be walking in, right? So how do we do it? You go back to physical training, you don't just wake up one day and you're just physically strong. No, you have to train every day. You need to know the right workouts, the right diet, and you need to stick to it. In the same way, when we train in godliness, we need to know the right way, and we need to stick to it. For example, I want those abs of Bruce Lee. I've always wanted Bruce Lee's abs, just walking around just flexing all the time. Shirtless. Just, I don't have the abs of Bruce Lee. I don't. It's because there's this thing called the strawberry frosted donut. And that's my problem, really. See, I'm a very disciplined person, but when it comes to the strawberry frosted donut, I don't allow my discipline in this area. I've got to have that donut, right? And that's why I don't have the abs of Bruce Lee. Or I know people out there who run marathons. Yeah? I always think that's crazy. But the satisfaction that they get from not believing that they could do something, to believing that they could do it, to training to do it, and then actually doing it, it's amazing. Now they, after running a few marathons, are like, man, I can do anything. Yeah? In the same way, there's so much more that we can do in walking with God than we believe, right? Faith is small as a mustard seed. Where's our faith? What are we believing in? What's our discipline like? So I ask this, church, do you know the right way, the right training? Do you know the right scriptures? Do you know the interpretation of these scriptures? Do you understand worship? How to worship, not just in singing songs, but worship in everyday life? Do you understand how to read the Bible? Do you understand how to pray? What prayer is? Are you doing it? Are you disciplined in your prayer life? Are you disciplined in honoring God with everything that you do? Are you disciplined in your vision? Like, do you have clarity in what you believe God's called you to do? All right? These are things that we train in on a day-to-day basis. Every day you are envisioning, what God's called you to do, and you're doing it. Every day you're reading scriptures. Every day you're doing devotionals. Every day you're loving people. Every day you're praying for people. You train every day, and you get stronger. Every day you just do it. There's no better way to get stronger than to just do it, right? You got to do it. So the two questions are, do you know the way, the right way to train? And are you doing it daily? A lot of people say they want to see God do this or that for the church, or God do this or that in the world we're living in, or they're believing God for certain things going on in their personal lives. And they're putting all that on God, but God has already blessed us so much. He's blessed us with so much wisdom, so much skill, so much provision around us. Sometimes people, we need to ask ourselves, has God already given us the knowledge that we need, the wisdom that we need, the understanding that we need, and are we doing it? Things to think about, people. Peace.